But first, the founder and editor of the Weekly Standard and ABC News contributor. You know him. He's the one and only Bill Kristol. So without any further ado, Bill, welcome.
How are you?
I'm good. Always good to talk to you. And as I said to you before, sorry, there's nothing going on today. All right, let's start with Ben Carson. Not dropping out of the race, but here's what his letter to his supporters says. I have decided not to attend the Fox News GOP presidential debate tomorrow night in Detroit. Even though I will not be in my hometown of Detroit on Thursday, I remain deeply committed to my home nation, America. I do not see a political path forward in light of last evening's Super Tuesday primary results. However, this grassroots movement on behalf of we the people will continue. What do you make of that?
I think he's basically dropping out, and I think his vote will now shrivel to he's not going to show up for the debate, and so we're not going to campaign, really. Who does this vote go to? I mean, I haven't seen there hasn't been that much, so it's a little hard to know. Probably fragment a bit, but I kind of think that might help Rubio and Cruz a little. Maybe not Cruz, because Cruz was allegedly, mean to Carson in Iowa. I don't know. The Carson voters they're outsiders, so maybe they'd go to Trump, but Carson's manner and mode are so different from Trump that I rather think this might marginally help Rubio.
Yeah, so it's up in the air. It's kind of a wild card as you view it, right?
And it's small. I mean, it's not that big a number, honestly. And I think so. We are going to be officially now, I guess, I think the main effect might be, and I'm just hearing about this, in the last few minutes like everyone else. I mean, thinking about it, if there are 4 people on the stage in tomorrow night, where's that debate in Michigan, I guess, right?
Yeah.
That will be, I mean, that's, 4 is the fifth less than 5. I mean, it's just the amount of the exchanges, the intensity of perhaps Rubio and Trump, assuming Trump does show up, the ability of each candidate just to get more time. If you think about it, 90 minutes or whatever, it's probably 70 minutes of talking. 5 goes into that, 12, something like that.
So
13,
who does it help?
14,
Who does it help the most? Who does it help the most?
I kind of think Trump's got the most to lose from these debates. I don't think he ends up winning over people, and at times he might lose some people. But obviously, it's been unpredictable. Rubio was a great debater, then he froze in New Hampshire, and that really hurt him when you think back on the dynamics of this campaign. Cruz has always been a good debater, probably never really hurt by any of the debates. Trump a little more up and down. I don't know. I just think it probably makes the debate more significant in that there's less kind of wasted, if I can put, not to be mean to Dr. Carson, but, less dead time that doesn't really affect the major candidates.
Okay, let's talk about Mitt Romney, who is going to give him what they're calling a major speech tomorrow, of course, prior to the debate. So it'll be big news at the debate, quite possibly. He's already attacked Donald Trump. They say he's not going to announce that he's running, and they say that he's not going to endorse anybody. So what do you expect from Mitt Romney tomorrow, and should he be doing this?
I don't know if he should be or not. I mean, on the one hand, he wasn't a great candidate in 2012, and a lot of us were critical of him. On the other hand, he got, 60 million votes, 55 million votes or something, had a certain credibility as the last Republican standard bearer, and was right about a lot of issues. I don't know how harshly he'll go after Trump or whether he'll try to I don't know, honestly, what effect it will be. It could look too much like the establishment getting up on Trump, or it could be useful for sort of undecided voters to hear from Mitt Romney why, I assume that's what he'll say, in effect, why they should reconsider their inclination to vote for Trump if they have that inclination.
Yeah, so you expect it to mention Trump by name, you think?
Yes. I don't see the point of getting cute, doing this whole speech and then being cute and dancing around. And maybe he will, but I would advise him, in for a dime, in for a dollar. If you're intruding, what's the word I'm not looking for? Not intruding. If you're
inserting yourself,
inserting yourself. Thank you. Right. If you're inserting yourself in the middle of the presidential campaign, you might as well insert yourself. I don't see much point in getting cute about it.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about something that you tweeted out. I want to put it up, and this says Cruz and Rubio. There it is. Together have won more votes and more delegates than Trump so far, so they just have to combine. Simple. Cruz, Rubio, 2016. Do you see that as a realistic possibility?
I think it's a realistic possibility at the end. They're obviously not going to combine at this point. The real point I wanted to make, and trying to find a kind of catchy way to do it, is for all the Trump, for all that he had a good night last night, that Trump did, for all the talk of how well he's done, he's under 50% in delegates. He got about 35% of the vote last night. Trump and Cruz got a heck of a lot more votes if you put them together. Now, obviously, you can't just put them together, but it does show that the Republican primary electorate is not stampeding towards Trump. It's split in 3 ways, with Trump having the biggest chunk right now. in case he gets a few too. And I do think if Cruz and Rubio can each stay in there and get their chunk of votes, I'm not sure Trump is on a path to get to 50%.
All right, and so what happens what if Trump does not get the votes? First of all, and it's interesting, maybe before we get to the convention, Lindsey Graham said that maybe the establishment has to get behind Ted Cruz. I mean, can you see that ever happening?
Boy, they so dislike him. But I mean, if you'd asked me what senator would be the last to praise Ted Cruz, I would have said Lindsey Graham. I like Ted Cruz, so I don't have really a big problem with either Cruz or Rubio, but no problem with them, in fact. But yeah, that was pretty stunning what Lindsey said, and I think it does suggest what Lindsey Graham said, and I think it does suggest I don't know, the possibility that things that they thought were unacceptable 2 months ago are suddenly becoming possible.
And so they hate and fear Donald Trump more than they hate and fear Cruz? Is that it?
I guess at the end of the day, in my opinion, Ted Cruz is quite conservative and somewhat confrontational and difficult to work with conservative senator. But he's within the normal spectrum, you might say, of Republican elected officials. He's on the more conservative side, Kasich's on the more moderate side, et cetera, et cetera. Trump really is just a whole different category. I think it's not a very good category. Other people like him, but Trump just nominating Trump just increases, adds a kind of risk and chance of splintering the party that I don't think you have with Cruz.
But can Cruz win a general, Bill? See, I think Cruz is brilliant. He'd be a great Supreme Court justice. He'd be a great anything. But he's not electable against Hillary. He's not going to appeal to Democrats. He's not going to appeal to many independents. He comes off as mean. He's just not electable where I believe Trump is.
Well, look, that might be, and that's obviously something people also have to consider. So right now in the polls, somewhat to my surprise, since I understand where you're coming from on this, much now in the polls, to my surprise, Cruz does decently against Hillary. Usually he's even or up a point, whereas Trump's usually behind 3-4 points. So right now, Cruz looks a little more electable than Trump. People can argue, and it's not a ridiculous argument at all, to say, well, in the actual campaign, Trump would do better. He's a much more dynamic campaigner. He would reach out to a lot of voters and different voters. He'd be more aggressive against Hillary. God knows it's hard to even think ahead to that, let alone predict what would happen in one of those general election campaigns. It's been such a wild primary race already.
Bill, great to talk to you, my friend, as always. Thank you.
Be well, Steve.
Bill Kristol, ladies and gentlemen.